as powerful as a tool, has also caused a lot of harm. I think people are more on on their phones, on their gadgets now. Have to be intentional.
Yeah.
What we consume, what we take in, even for children. You can just hear something. If someone preaches something wrong and you consume it, it affects everything you've
That's
learned.
true. That's true.
So you have to be intentional. Some of you will not even your church platform, you will not even follow them.
Are you shaking the
But
table
no,
now?
but is it true? But they're in the gossip law. They'll be saying, "Oh, I don't have details about." I'm not necessarily checking. But I'm just basically trying
Yeah.
to say, those that's the place where you're supposed to be following the platforms that will feed you.
Hello again. You're welcome to Unlocked with Aghogho, where we share inspiring stories and give a biblical perspective to experiences, stories, topics, you name it. We are discussing today a very, very, very important topic, and I won't call it an August visit. Um, okay. We have someone in the studio today with us who is the very first gospel artist to be signed to Sony Music West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have someone grace our studios today. The very, I'll leave that part open, the one and only Minister Onos Ariyo.
Ooh.
Drum roll. Thank you so much, ma'am. I feel like I don't need to run an introduction or like a bio other than what I've said because it's quite weighty. But thank you. Thank you for gracing our podcast series today.
Thanks for
It
having
is it
me.
is an honor. It is an honor and a rare privilege that we don't take for granted. So very quickly, we'll be discussing Christianity in the digital age, how technology shapes modern spirituality and community. So before now, I was discussing with my guest and I was talking about how it's so amazing how social media has come and changed our lives in terms of instant access to what is happening in the world thousands of miles away. But as believers, should we allow what seems to be negative on social media have how do they say this? Should we allow it stain our white hand? That's the way they say it sometimes in Nigeria, as believers. Or can we just maintain the standard of the Bible? And how we can do this is part of the reasons why our guest is here to talk with us today. So we'll be having a short conversation about this. Go ahead to like, share, and subscribe. I'm so sure that you'll gain a thing or two. So, ma'am, um, I want to say it this way. You've been around for a long time. And when I say a long time, from before, I mean, social media was the in thing. And, you know, till now. But the Minister Onos Ariyo we knew back in the day is still the same Minister Onos Ariyo. It's not that you're not active on social media. In fact, far from it. The day I saw you praying on TikTok, I'm like, oh, Mama is here. Wow, wow, wow. Gen Zs, please clear road. It's not about doing trends. Oh. We pray here too. So, how do you think social media has influenced the way we experience and express our faith as believers?
um, I'll start by saying this is quite interesting.
It is.
It's very interesting because even as creatives, social media has really changed a lot.
I agree.
And not to even talk about being a Christian.
Mhm.
Back I'll take it and down
Yes,
memory
please.
lane.
Yes, please.
My very first single was in 2009.
Mm.
Was 2009. Dance. As at that time when I pull out that song, we didn't have so much
That was
going
era
on.
of CDs. Was there
Yes,
Walkman then? I can't remember.
yes, that was the era, and we didn't even have a lot of blogs. We just have Bella Niger, not just
Mhm.
UK. So we just put out our songs for free download.
Yeah.
Then you just go and check. Okay, 2,000 people have downloaded it. This kind of people
Ah,
have downloaded it.
back in the
There was
day.
no, there was no, the other. I don't want to call all of them, so I'm not giving them soft, soft promo. to come and sponsor us. We didn't have all those,
Yeah.
all the other apps right now that we
Mm-hmm.
have where we stream our songs, so we direct people to go and stream the songs. It was, you go to the radio stations, you go there,
Yeah.
give them the songs, get them to play the songs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different ball game, because then if you can hear a song in the radio, that means you've done some work.
You've blown
Yeah,
to
you've
some extent.
you've done a lot of work. We just had Facebook.
Yeah.
Then we had SoundCloud somewhere.
Somewhere.
I'm just trying to take that a Mary Lane so you understand where we are.
Hmm.
And we paid attention to going to church, because we believed
Indeed.
that the song has to be in church.
Mm-hmm.
That was like priority,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then and now, oh my goodness, a lot has changed.
A huge
A
gap.
lot has
So
changed.
huge. So huge.
What? So I'm in responding to what you just said is, as a creative, the social media space also has affected what we do,
Mhm.
as well as Christian. Then back in the day, people didn't used to be so audacious. I
Think
think
so too.
no, they're not so audacious as they are now. Even on
Yeah.
Facebook, I think
Facebook was for
yeah, it
families,
was a bit conservative,
adults.
you know. But I think when the lockdown happened, life happened to us. We woke up to some kind of
Boom.
it
Literally, there was
was
some
social media was all we
explosive
had.
exposure.
So everybody was pouring out
Hmm.
everything on there. We're pouring. I remember when I used to do IG Live, when I started IG Live for Breed way before I
Hmm.
had a space. When I go live, apart from maybe one or two people I see live, it wasn't like a tool. No, but
Mhm.
20
Mhm.
when the lockdown came, everybody was going live.
Everybody. I got to know a lot of artists through
Yeah.
Instagram or online during the lockdown.
As powerful as a tool as it has been,
Mhm.
it has also caused a lot of harm.
Right.
I think people are more on their phones, on their gadgets now, and even listening to news. Everything is online
So true.
right now,
So true.
which means so much is being consumed
Hmm.
online. And as a Christian, you have to intentionally,
I love that word.
right, um, sieve the platforms you're on, what you're consuming,
Very
what you're
true.
taking in. I
Very true.
remember vividly when business partner of mine said to me, I tried checking you out on TikTok. You're not there.
Hmm.
So I said to her, I've been there several times. That's a different world.
Different world.
Like, then sometimes I go say, how many, my age? Try to find it.
As in.
Then there was a particular day she sat down and she called me while I was on the call. She said, Onos, it's a different audience. You have to cater for them. You have to find a way to cater for them. I was like, oh my goodness. It was so she said, why not on the study? So a couple of times I just randomly go down this. I'm like, why you
This
all just
happening?
dancing?
Why? What's this?
And then I was doing a lot of prayers and stuff
Mhm.
on
TikTok.
on Instagram then
Okay.
way
Yeah,
before I
then.
started it
Mhm.
right there. So I said to myself, okay, if this is a tool that you know devil is using it, everybody is using
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
then how can it be effective with the gift
Hmm.
as a Christian?
Right.
So you have to, which brings me to the point. What I'm trying to say, make sure
Yeah.
that you're using it effectively.
Yeah.
If you have a business, does it impact your business?
Hmm.
If How is it impacting
What
your
impact is
life?
it making?
Yeah. So you have to be intentional.
Hmm.
You can't just be following everybody,
Yeah.
because the truth about the gadget is when you get on it, you can't, let's say, oh, I want to check this thing on my page. When you open it,
Hmm. Hmm.
I bet like the people you're
Yeah.
following will
Other
determine how long,
notifications. Yeah.
yeah, you spend there,
Yeah.
because you forget what
What you
actually took
went there
you
for.
there.
The
You just see one
intent.
funny video, the next minute
My
you're
God.
laughing. That takes you somewhere else. Then you know now you don't, when you see something, you're going straight to the comment section
Yes.
because
You want to
before
see
you
the
know,
engagement.
yeah.
Be
So be
curious.
intentional also, um who you're following, what you're consuming, the people you're following. Be intentional as a Christian. So take me, if I go back to TikTok, so what I now did, I said, okay, I can move my prayers from here
Mm.
there. So I did an understudy. I saw people go live. I see people call themselves grow hosts. I see a lot. So sometimes I'll randomly enter. I'm like, wow, Jesus Christ,
What
where are
is
we?
happening here?
What's going on? And people are spending hours in there.
Mm.
I say, like, I took my time to understudy. And I say, you know what? I'm going to pray here.
Mm.
I'll be praying here because,
They
yes,
need
I
the
share.
prayers or
Yeah,
something. That's it. You thought they needed the prayers
yeah,
because
I'll be praying here. Is this everybody? This one is, I will pray.
I will
Somebody will,
pray.
and for breathe, a lot of people, some people in breathe
Mhm.
have come from TikTok, from that platform. A lot of people, there are people that came for my London concert that came from that platform. What am I trying to say? Be intentional about um how you're there and what you're feeding yourself.
Mm. Mm.
If you're a business person, are you actually really
Promoting your business.
business?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a Christian, when you're following the wrong pages, you'll be in every conversation.
That's true. That's true.
You'll be in every conversation with ought not to be. So if you're following, I don't want to call all of them and
Mm-hmm,
give themselves
mm-hmm,
to,
mm-hmm.
you know, the ones you guys follow. If you're there, the temptation to write
Yeah, it's
will be
always
there.
there. It's
So
always there.
we have to intentionally cover it because we lived in, there was a time these things were not there and we
That's
lived
true.
well.
So true.
We could call people. But now
You don't call any longer.
if I wish you a happy
Send chat.
birthday and post to you, I think I just
Yeah,
assume you're
that's
good.
enough.
You know, we're
Wow.
losing. Yeah. Yeah.
The world
So
has
it's
really
very
changed.
it's very important that we're intentional about how we use it. And as a Christian, what you're taking in. What you're taking in has to do with the pages,
Yeah.
also the people you follow, the people you're listening to. Yeah. And always do like I call it like a review. I'll ask myself,
Mm-hmm.
is this beneficiary to me? Is
Mm-hmm.
it impacting
Mm-hmm.
your what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it is not, then there's something wrong about the time you're spending in that. You're
Yeah.
spending productive time,
Mm-hmm.
time you're meant to be used
So
to
true.
making money.
So
You're
true.
just spending it while it away, the whole time there. And also I also I know I'm going into.
It's fine. It's
I should
fine.
just flow.
I'll summarize. I'll
Yeah.
summarize. It's fine.
Um, I've had mentorship sessions,
Okay.
and I have mentorship sessions with
This
a
is
lot
your
of,
personal experience now with
yeah,
people, right? Okay.
mentorship sessions with emerging artists. Since I'm a gospel artist, I'm always going to be talking from that
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
generally to believers, um, and when I speak to them about their platforms, I
Yeah.
ask them how they are using it. So in the course of the class, I always say, okay, can you give me your handles? I go into their page. I'm trying to check. First thing I say to them, one, I say, you're a believer. Oh, you're tongue speaking. And right now, are you aware that that Instagram page is now your new CV, or that Facebook is now your new CV?
Wow.
If I want to look for vocalists when I'm asking for singers, I ask for their page. I want to see what I can
That's
tell
so
who you
true.
are. If I don't say anything there, I'll be hesitant,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I can decide by looking at it.
Yeah.
So be intentional what it's there, how people perceive you.
Yeah.
So I ask them most times when I go on their page, and this person, I say, you're telling me, if I look at your page and
Yeah.
you're telling me you want to do stuff, and you're coming to meet me for help, and I look at your page cannot
Doesn't
inspire me to
reflect,
even,
yeah, what you're asking for.
which means you're wasting time
Hmm.
just all over the internet, not your life is not being impacted. It's not you're not because I'm
Mm.
not seeing it
Yeah.
there. The quality, the time you're spending
Mm-hmm.
there does not reflect
Mm-hmm.
on it. So as Christians, as creatives, as
Yeah.
businessmen, business
Yeah.
what's how because of how big it is right now. It's social media is like it's, anyone can just go viral.
Anyone, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
So because of how we have to be intentional,
Yeah.
what we consume, what we take in,
Mhm.
even for children, how we expose them to the
So true.
platform. It has a way of shaping. You can just hear something. If someone preaches something wrong and you consume it, it affects everything you've
That's
learned.
true. That's true.
So you have to be intentional. Some of you will not even your church platform, you will not even follow them.
Are you shaking the
But
table
no,
now?
but is it true? But they're in the gossip law. They'll be saying, "Oh, I don't have details about." I'm not necessarily checking. I'm just basically trying
Yeah.
to say, that's the place where you're supposed to be following the platforms that will feed you.
Edify you spiritually. That's
Yeah,
true.
feed your spirit,
That's true.
man.
That's true.
That's where you're meant to
That's
be.
true. Well, she has said a lot, a whole lot. And she has answered a few of the questions I would have loved to ask her. If you're watching, feel free to like, subscribe, please comment, share with us what you're learning from this podcast. So I like the fact that you kept mentioning intentionality, because it spells to me that that is the way to balance, what benefits one gets from technology, social media, and all. Because we all have, since the lockdown, we've all had this access, this wide access to any and every content from around the world. Because anybody can sponsor a particular post and it's their choice. There are options to choose what their reach is going to be, the
Yeah.
locations, keywords, and if those are your interests, it will come to your page. Whether this one is not
Yes.
unsolicited, it
Yes.
will flash before your eyes. It's so bad now that I'm talking about something and I used to say, oh, my phone is listening, my phone is, and the next 2 minutes, especially when myself and my husband are discussing something, next 2 minutes, we open our phones and there's a suggested ad about the same thing we were discussing. So it's a technological age. It's everywhere. But as believers, we have to take a stand. We have to maintain our stand. The one we had, I mean, you said it that you've been around, and when it was just Facebook, when it was just SoundCloud. And now there are thousands of apps, thousands of streaming platforms
Yeah.
for music. But we still have to maintain our spirituality in the midst of it all. You mentioned something about the fact that you have your worship and prayer session, on TikTok now. Um, but I want to ask from, because you also host Breathe
Yeah.
monthly. Do you think that digital worship experiences can replace the traditional in-person gatherings that we have? I know there is an audience, that people who go live and online, like yourself, to host prayers and the rest, try to reach. There are online church services, virtual prayer groups. These were really effective, I know, during the lockdown. Do you think that they can replace the traditional in-person gatherings that we didn't have during the lockdown?
It can never.
This can never, right?
Never. There's always a difference where when you're fellowshipping
Right.
with believers in the space. You cannot replace it. You can have an experience and
Mhm.
online, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
If you're in the room, I said that to say that in as much as you love to be an online believer,
I
please
like that.
get
Online believer
get a Bible believing church
to belong to.
where
Yeah.
you go in and you have a pastor you sit under that feeds you
Yeah.
the word. You enjoy live music for free and you
Mm-hmm.
worship,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you leave there refreshed.
True.
It's important. You cannot replace it. And and I often would say that even you're going right there, it helps you build a community.
I think so
Right
too.
now, even online, everything is about community.
Yeah.
People are trying to get this
No,
community,
that's
that
true. That's
community.
true.
That's your first community.
It is.
Some of you don't even have a job. You've been praying for a job and you're online, you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Get
They
involved
don't know the
somewhere.
people online.
Yep.
They're not connecting with them. They can't connect with them as much as they would with those who are physically, present. So
Yeah, in the space. Yeah, so I've done both, and Hence, I am of the opinion, and it's not. It's more than an opinion. It's more
Mm.
like this is it. You can't replace it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't just say that's my online pastor. That
Okay,
does not
that's the
even
first
be.
two.
We say,
Yeah. Ah. Oh.
lockdown made us start saying, oh, this one,
That's
this
my
thing.
oh, so there's
But it's
online pastor and on-site pastor.
pastor.
Wow. Wow.
But it's good to have a base.
Yeah.
Because when you go there,
Hmm.
that's where you drink from.
True. True.
It's a different experience when you're in the room where people are worshiping. So please, in as much as it's good to be online, enjoy, it's good to be in the
Yeah.
venue as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Please, let's try to make that a possibility. Because just like you said, I actually know a lot of people who are not exactly planted in an assembly, and it's so important to have a spiritual cover. We live in very interesting, very very interesting times. So, as a way of rounding up, I'd like to ask, how can Christian leaders and communities leverage technology to foster meaningful connections? I'm asking this because um, it's obvious now that even some of us have our mothers and fathers on social media. Like we have our mothers or in-laws, parent-in-laws sending us messages, forwarded messages that don't exactly make sense to us. Well, mommy, this cannot happen now, and we have them as our Christian leaders, in the church. So how can Christian leaders and communities leverage technology to foster meaningful connections that have to do with discipleship in the body of Christ? What I'm trying to say is, how can we have people bridge the generational gap? How can we have those of the older generation use social media as a tool? Because we're not saying social media is totally outrightly bad. It's about how you create the balance and the intentionality, like you said. But how can they bridge that gap and use the social media technology to foster meaningful connections with those of the younger generation?
Yeah. Firstly,
Yeah.
that can be done by using it for
Using
starters.
it.
Yeah.
But using it.
Using as in using social media,
Yeah.
any of the platform,
Okay.
firstly. So we can't shy away from it.
Yeah, I think it's here to
Yes.
stay.
Yeah, we can't shy away from it. It's our new reality.
Yeah.
You have to embrace it.
Mhm.
One of the things that will always make you in business or whatever, apart from just being a Christian, everything you do is the ability to be able to evolve.
Wow.
So things have evolved.
Yeah.
You have to evolve. You evolve. You have to understand
Yeah.
what is applicable now. You cannot be using old methods
Yeah.
to always try to get new results.
Mhm.
So it's the thing is, this is a new method
Yeah.
that is right in our face. So we have to create godly content, which this podcast is all about.
Thank you,
Um,
ma'am.
Talking about things like this, insightful things. We need to
Yeah.
even, and especially things that probably you will not want to share in four walls of a church as well.
True.
And Christian leaders, which I think a lot of our mothers, fathers are doing, intentionally share some of these things on their page. I was listening to Dr. Shola for that day. There's a segment he's creating on his platform that talks about ask me. So he talks about things he will not
Wow.
preach about
Yeah. Oh, that's
on
good.
it, and I
That's
think it's
good.
brilliant.
That's good.
So our fathers, our mothers, our leaders, entrepreneurs, we have to on our platform create
Avenues to have,
those
yes, those
conversations. So you
conversations
could
with
create it
people.
like a video. You could just go live and share XYZ and
Yeah.
leave it there. By so doing, you are impacting. You're
So
using the
impactful.
tool, using
That's
it
it.
as an
Yeah.
avenue. And like I said, same thing that's going on right here on Unlock with Aghogho.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, man. This has been insightful. I feel like it's how do you call this capsule, these antibiotics that they are two. So we put everything in it and we're like capping it now because it's one capsule. If you're watching this, I'm sure you would agree with me that this has been so insightful. Please go ahead to like, comment, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear this. And we are so grateful to God for Minister Onos Ariyo and her sharing with us everything she has shared so far on Unlocked with Aghogho. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks for having me. It's such a delight.
We're
Gracing
grateful.
this
Oh,
beautiful, amazing setup here. Thank you so much.
thank you. Too.
Thanks for all you do. And this is a different side, which we
It
love to
is.
see.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you too. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this podcast series. This has been Unlocked with Aghogho. Thank you.